You searched for Claude Skills tutorial and you got many videos back. You watched through all of them. Some were about Claude Chat, highly unlikely. Some were about Cowork and some about code. Most of them didn't even say which one. That's actually a real problem. These are completely different tools, completely different products within Claude. What works in one doesn't automatically work in another. And if you're following the tutorial without knowing where you are, you'll waste time and get confused. So today I'm going to give you a map first, then we're going to be covering what skills are and what MCPs are, which nobody explains cleanly in connection with skills. And then we're going to build something live. By the end of this video, you will have Claude connected to your Notion, reading your real task data, and answering what's on my plate with actual information, not a guess. If you want the foundation, brand voice and context, this was in video 1 of this series. Link will be below. You don't have to follow it today, but it's worth checking out. Let's start. So there are 3 Claude products and they're completely different. And most of the tutorials don't bother mentioning which one they're using. And I find it very annoying. So let me show you, let me recap if you haven't seen my previous video. So there's Claude Chat, there's Claude Cowork, and there's Claude Code. So Claude Chat is a basically chat interface where you can just interact with an LLM, and you can use it on the web browser, you can use it on your mobile app. You ask questions, Claude responds. It is advanced currently. It has skills, it has ability to connect different services, but it has some limitations. Chat is exactly where we're going to work today. But let's touch Cowork and Code a little bit. So Cowork lives in a desktop app. You have to have a paid subscription, and Cowork works with your files on your computer, using Claude's LLMs as a brain. And we will dive deep into Cowork, how to build and use your assistant there in the next video. And there's Claude Code. Claude Code is for developers, and many creators say that it's not only for developers, that small business owners can use it. However, I found a lot of limitations in terms of knowledge, because if you're not very technical, if you're not tech savvy, if you don't want to spend time on learning things, on learning automations, and you just need things to work, I bet Claude Code is not the best tool for you. Moving on. The reason I brought it up matters because now when you search for tutorial on skill, for example, you immediately recognize if this tutorial is for you, because what works in Claude Chat may not work in Claude Cowork. There's completely different environments. And today we're going to work in Chat. Let's talk about what skill is and how it works in Chat. A skill is a workflow or SOP that you can create and reuse so many times as you want. It's not a prompt, it's not a template. It's clearly an SOP, standard operating procedure, that you've taught Claude once and it can use it anytime. The problem it solves. You've either been forgetting to give Claude context and say getting generic output, or say you've been copying and pasting the same instructions into every single chat. Skill cover both of these problems, both of these mistakes. Or you can think about it as a recurrent task that is documented and can be repeated, but it's not just a simple task, it's a complicated workflow that can be repeated over and over again. Say you wouldn't recreate an onboarding for every single client. You would build onboarding process from scratch once and then use it again and again. And let's go to web interface so you can follow along. Before we move to the building side, let's just make sure that our skill creator is there. This is your web interface. You just go to customize and you go to skills, has skills and connectors. And you just go to skills and you just check if this skill, which is like a basic skill from Claude, is turned on. If it's on, you're good to go. It should be on by default, but you'd better check. Chat skills work inside the conversation, writing, analysis, anything that lives in this chat window. Cowork skills are different. They can run on your files inside your computer and they can be scheduled without you triggering them manually all the time. But this is for the video 4. So the limitations for skills in chat, they have to be triggered manually and they can live only in the cloud and can work with everything you put in chat. Of course, they can work with documents inside your projects, but you have to set up project for this. And we've done it in the previous video if you want to check it out. Let's talk about another important thing, which I want to actually include in this video about skills, not a separate video, because it's important to know how they work together. I'm talking about MCP or connectors. If we go to customize again and go to connectors, you can see so many different, you can go plus and browse connectors. You can see lots of different connectors. They're basically an app that you can connect, plug in inside Claude and use it. It creates basically a pipe between Claude and another app and another tool you already use. When you connect an app to Claude, Claude can actually reach for data that is stored in that app. So like actual data without relying on some vague description that you gave it in the chat. There are two types of connectors. Built-in connectors like Gmail, Google Drive, and others that you can find over here. It's Airtable, Asana, Zoom for Claude, Slack, whatever you use. You basically need to go to connectors and find the tool and just go there and connect. Let's find something that I haven't connected, like a Slack, for example. You just press connect and Claude walks you through how to connect this particular app. I have several built-in connectors in my Claude. I have Canva, I have Notion, I have Gmail, Google Drive, Google Calendar that I don't use. So Google services are very easy to connect to Claude. Anyway, there's also custom connectors as something that the developers create and configure manually, but this is outside of the scope of today's video. It's just for you to know that there is an ability to create a connector, even if you don't have the pre-built connector in here. So today we're going to work in Notion. If you haven't already, just go to customize connectors, go to Notion, like you can search it here, search connectors, Notion. You can open it and let Claude walk you through and connect your account. This is pretty easy. You can pause the video and do that. So when you connected your Notion account to Claude, Claude can interact with your Notion and it can read data, it can create documents, it can create databases, it can edit your databases, and it can do everything within your chat window, which is great. And that completely changes the dynamic because Claude now knows your exact data. It's not guessing anymore. So how actually skills and connectors, MCPs, work together? A skill tells Claude how to do a job. An MCP gives Claude access to your data that, like, separately, each of them is useful. And together, they're exactly what turns Claude from a writing tool into something that actually runs part of your business. What we're about to build now, a skill that uses Notion MCP from your real task list. You ask once and Claude tells you what's urgent, what's not started, and what needs your attention today. So here's my Notion app, and I created a page called Business Demo. Please create a page for yourself and call it whatever you want. You can call it Business Demo as well. And there are just only two things I would love to do. It's just personal preference. Set full width and close this. And let's open this prompts page. We will need it. And I actually prepared a prompt for you if you don't have any database in Notion so far, or if you don't want to ruin yours, want to work with me, this link will be in the description. So you just go here, you just copy this prompt, and go into new chat and just paste it there. Create a task database in my Notion. I would say create it in a page called Business Demo. So it would use my main page for now. You see, Claude knows what to do. You just need to allow him to do some tasks. on the way here. Oops, it opened in my Notion app, but we need it to be opened inside. Let's refresh. Yes, so here's my tasks database, and just like that, with one prompt, we created a nice database for our tasks. But let's actually add some tasks into this database so we can work on it. I also created a prompt for you as well. So this is the first part of the prompt. Here's my example. So I just dictated some stuff. So basically you copy this to your chat and paste, and then you describe to Claude inside this chat what exactly are on your plate, what Claude needs to do to do with your to-do list, basically. So I'm copying I just prepared it in advance not to waste time on it, and paste it, and just like that, allow, and it creates the tasks inside your newly created. Why do you create pages in Markdown? Because I didn't specify that you need to create this. Okay, let me see. Oh, it's actually added this. Amazing. So I just need to remove show page icon. And just like that, Claude actually filled up your database with your tasks. And let's see how it can interact with the tasks. And just notice what you didn't do. You didn't create a page, you didn't create database, you didn't navigate within your database, you didn't click for Notion settings. You just described in plain language, and Claude built it for you just like that in 2 seconds. Isn't it amazing? And isn't it cool how Claude just added your tasks and filled out your database in 2 seconds by you just asking it to do? But let's check if Claude really works the way we want. So now we have this database, and say tomorrow you want to check or plan something. And I actually prepared some questions for Claude. What's urgent this week? I deliberately opened a new chat for you to see if it makes mistakes. Because see, without context, it was trying to navigate and pull information from the sources that actually provide the scheduling information. It didn't pull any information from Google Calendar MCP because either it's connected. I don't use Google Calendar, I use Apple Calendar on my computer, but it found the Notion task list and it just gave you a brief what's urgent and where due date is and what priority. This is cool. Let's ask Claude what's not started and overdue. And it knows where to find because we already connected Notion and we created our database. Okay, Claude knows that 2 tasks are not started with the due date of today, marking them overdue right now. Great. And let's ask, what should I prioritize today? This is how easily you can create your own assistant. But let's actually save it as a skill. Let's open a new chat for this. Let's mention skill creator. Let's mention skill creator, and let's tell Claude, I want to create a skill called daily briefing, where you should check my Notion database for tasks. Tell me what's high priority and what's not started, what's in progress, or if anything is overdue. Be brief. I don't need long explanations. I just need the list. And let's just send it. Honestly, I'm creating this skill for the first time. I use a lot of skills in Claude Code, but I don't use it in Chat. But it's interesting, you know. So you can basically ask Claude to create a skill. You don't even need to mention skill creator. If you prompt it, I want to create a skill, and you explain it in natural language, it will activate skill creator automatically with natural language, and just do it. So Claude creates a skill, reads Notion database, and walks through each task. So, and now you see in chat, it has database, it has database ID, app, the schema for the database, the steps how Claude should work on this particular task, and the output format. Basically, the output you see here is like live test. Let's test it with a new chat. Can you do daily briefing for me? Immediately, Claude picks up daily briefing skill and working on it. Let's see. It's really, really smart. And while Claude works, I want to just mention something. You see, I'm working with Sonnet. With daily tasks, if you need a model to think a little bit, it's the best to use Sonnet. Don't use Opus for these tasks because Opus needs to be used where you need like really deep thinking. It's a really great little output that I can work with. I think this is great. This is such a great skill and you can use it like every single day. And we can actually go further. We can change the records on or the statuses or the priorities inside our database. Can you mark the overdue invoice as done, please? And follow up with Sarah about proposal. I think, yes, I also finished this today. So mark them as done. And update the website. Can you push it 2 days later? And can you reduce the priority? Okay, not the best prompt in the world, but let's see what Claude does. The status is in progress. I think we would need to refresh, we would need to refresh the page. I assume we would need to refresh a page, but let's see if, oh no, actually it's just like that, marked as done, which is amazing. And the priority of the update website reduced to medium, which is great. So just like that, by chatting with Claude inside the chat, you can use your Notion. This is actually why I came back to use Notion again, because my Notion was like a complete mess. But when I realized that by just chatting with Claude, which I do every single day, I can treat Notion as my backend, so the place where I store my information and databases, because I love working tables and databases. And Notion is a great tool combined with Claude. It's just superpower. So what you built today works in chat. You're still the one starting conversation, reading the output, deciding what to do. Cowork changes that completely. Why you do something else? Claude can work on your files. You just describe an outcome and you just wait, or just you can step away while Claude is building what you ask or doing what you ask. We're going to dive deep into Cowork in the next video, because Cowork, as I mentioned, is a completely different system. And it has different mechanics. It can run on schedule, it has some automations there. So say this daily briefing can proactively be sent to you in Cowork if you set it up there. This automation works without you triggering it. You can just set Monday morning briefing once. It will be delivered to you every Monday morning or every day if you like. But today was the foundation, the understanding on what skills are, how they work, how you can supercharge them with other tools. I know that Claude Cowork and Claude Code are super hot topics, but even chat is quite powerful with skills and projects and MCPs. So all the prompts that you saw here are going to be in my Notion page. I will share a link in the description. You can just copy and paste directly, no retyping. If you missed video 1, where we created our brand voice, context for our business and personal context, as well as created one project for your AI assistant, make sure you watch it. Also, link will be below. And subscribe if you're following this series. So video 3 is Cowork, and this is where all this starts to feel different. See you there.